Welcome back. You're watching Markets at Noon with my colleague Pankaj Podar and me, Nayantara Rai. Let's shift gears now and talk about health tech and ed tech. And I'm going to be doing so with PN Sudarshan, the partner for TMT at Deloitte India. Thanks so much for joining us live here on this edition of Markets at Noon. Look at 2020. We had no choice. It has accelerated digitization. It has given a massive booster shot to EdTech and health tech. Let's begin with EdTech. Now that the vaccine program is underway, schools and colleges have started reopening. Do you think EdTech is going to flourish the way it did in 2020? Or, you're seeing hybrid models that are going to come up. But all of this is also going to put a pressure on families being able to afford so many devices.
So all valid points, but I think I see equilibrium emerging in the next 3 to 5 years. One is, there'll be a democratization of education. And what I mean by democratization of education is the digitization of content and the pedagogy will enable education to reach the larger masses. Today, somewhat restricted. I think that will enable that. So that, I think it set the platform for a future growth. That's part one. Part two, how will it be delivered? Will it be all online? Not necessarily. As you had rightly said, there'll be a hybrid models will coexist. Learning will become a little more flexible. I think this will be in line with the NEP that was recently announced. There'll be a lot more pathways, learning pathways that the individuals will drive themselves, and it'll be a flexible learning in that sense. So that'll be number two. The third thing you said is, what about the affordability of this? Democratization of education, I think, will create large opportunities, business opportunities in terms of volumes. And therefore, I do believe that you could have significant economies of scale emanating from this. And therefore, affordability over a period of time would be eased, both in terms of hardware and in three things: hardware, software, and network. On all three issues, I think over a period of time, that will also ease.
Okay, absolutely. So equilibrium that you're seeing that is going to be emerging. You've also talked about democratizing of education. So when we talk about democratizing of education, this entire endeavor that we have, we want our children to attend the best schools, best colleges. Admissions are so difficult. Do you think that's going to stay the same in the post-corona world? The fact is you've got the best teachers and professors now online holding courses as well.
Exactly. So there will be a sliver of Ivy League which will always be there. I mean, that cannot change. But I think the larger aspirations, and aspirations are at various levels, you must understand, right? I mean, for a person at this level, this is an aspiration. For a person at this level, this is an aspiration, and so on. So aspirations are various levels. I think at the larger masses levels, I think a whole host of such aspirations will be fulfilled. And you are absolutely correct. If we can access, if 100,000 students or 2, 3, 500,000 students can access the same professor's content online instead of 200 students in a classroom, doesn't it democratize the education space? If the content, which was in a sense somewhat difficult to disseminate through an online platform, is because of the COVID pandemic, has accelerated the digitization of such content and is easily available, that also democratizes learning. It also provides a third thing, which you need to understand. We can now pick and choose content. So you don't have to be rigidly driven by the curriculum set. A student can actually pick up his or her own pathways. So that flexibility is also important. So we have, I think, therefore, I think this will lead to a more universal learning, if that's the right word I'm looking for.
Right. What are the challenges that you would look at? How do you look at challenges in terms of affordability, in terms of any regulatory changes? In healthcare, we've seen a lot of regulatory changes due to the pandemic. Do you expect similar things in other areas as well?
Yes. I think to my mind, there are 4 challenges. One is regulatory. But if you look at the policy document, the NEP document, I think it provides for a great degree of flexibility, a differentiation, which I think if it's implemented well, will provide a fair degree of flexibility to the market. The second, and which is the most important thing, is the culture and the mindset. Today, by and large, our formal education, I'm not talking about test prep, which is already technologized. I'm talking about the formal education is very classroom oriented. And that's a mindset that's been there for decades. So it's not going to be, one of the things we all need to understand is online education is not a mere digitization of classroom education. It is not that you are delivering classrooms at home. You are actually rediscovering education, reinventing the way education is imparted. So to that extent, there has to be a cultural, structural shift in the way education institutions look at online education. And I think that is the most significant part. Third is the affordability. Affordability in terms of devices. Yes, as I said earlier, more volumes, more hybrid models. I think market will find its equilibrium there. And the fourth is bandwidth. Some point in time, bandwidth has to be made so easily available and so affordable that it becomes a pathway, not just for learning, for a whole host of things, but including learning. I think these are the four challenges, and I perceive they will get ironed out over a period of time.
Okay, let's leave it at that. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show today with your thoughts. We're in uncharted territories. Let's see what happens to EdTech and Health Tech. This is just the beginning. We're going to take a short commercial break, but as we do that, ladies and gentlemen, this is an interview you just cannot afford to miss. It is with the top boss of India's largest bank, SBI. SBI chairman will be on ET Now exclusively.